If everyone could please take their seats, we can call the meeting to order. I note that the hour is 7:05 p.m. and I will call the annual Springtown meeting to order. And if the town clerk could confirm that the notice of the annual town meeting has been properly posted and certified. Thank you. Just a reminder at the front end, I was reminded about this the last meeting we had. If you could either turn off your cell phones or put them on silent so they don't disturb the people sitting around you. We have a 0 quorum requirement. I note the presence of more than 0 people, so we have the adequate quorum in any event. And if you are able, if you could stand for the presentation of the colors and the Pledge of Allegiance by the Wareham Junior ROTC.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Right, face. Forward, march.
Thank you. You may be seated, and if we could thank the Wareham Junior ROTC and my Quinn, who led the Pledge of Allegiance, seems to have disappeared on me, but he was asking some pertinent questions about the town meeting, so we may be looking at a future town moderator in any event. So I just want to give some ground rules that we have for the town meeting. This is a deliberative legislative body. This town meeting shall be governed by Massachusetts general laws, by the bylaws of the town of Wareham, Robert's Rules of Order, and town meeting time to the extent that they conform to the conditions of the town and, of course, my rulings. Again, let me reiterate that down here in the front to my left is the non-registered voters section. If you are in fact a registered voter and you want your vote to be counted, you need to sit in one of the other sections. One of the requirements that I have is to give a roll call of the departments of the town, so I will do that now. Administration.
Here.
Accounting. Assessors. Collector Treasurer, Information Technology, Town Clerk, Planning and Zoning and Conservation, Emergency Medical Services, Harbor Master Natural Resources, Police, Inspectional Services, Municipal Maintenance, Board of Health, Council on Aging, Library, School Department, and Sewer Department. I'd first like to start, my name's Margaret Ishihara. I'm the moderator for this town meeting. We have with me to my right Richard Bowen, Town Council, Derek Sullivan, the Town Administrator, the Judith Whiteside, the Chair of the Select Board. So if Ms. Whiteside, if you could introduce yourself and the members of the Board of Selectmen, of the Select Board, please.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Yes, to my right is Jared Chadwick, who is the clerk, Ron Bessie, Sarah Corbett, and Sherry Quirk, who are all members of the board. Thank you.
And the other folks that we have sitting up here with us are the members of the Finance Committee. Norma Scoggin is the chair. So, Norma, if you could introduce yourself and the members of your committee.
To my right is Brianna King, Vice Chair, Heidi Churchill, Andrea Piccarelli, Alan Slavin, who is the clerk, Jerry Stefanski, and Jody Smith.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank, because sometimes I forget, and then I forget to say it at the end, I'd like to thank the school department, the IT person who's up there in the back, and their tellers for all their help, in addition to the folks that are sitting up here on the stage in running this town meeting. By tradition, debate will be limited to 5 minutes for the petitioner of a particular article to speak, and 2 minutes each for all subsequent speakers. If you wish to speak, other than the folks that are up here, please present yourself at one of the 2 microphones that are kind of in that middle open area, and I will call on you in the order in which I see you. When you do speak, please state your name before you begin speaking. And I would ask, as I always do, that you please treat the other speakers with respect and courtesy that you would expect for yourself. We're here to debate the issues before the town meeting. We are, as I stated before, a deliberative legislative body, and so I would ask that we not personally attack each other, and I know and trust that we can do this to show Wareham in its best light. Before we get started with the actual agenda, with the actual motions, you'll see when we get to the presentation of the motions that some of them say, I move as printed in the Finance Committee report. So all of you should have what you were handed when you came in, a document that says Finance Committee report on it, and that's what we'll be referring to. The Finance Committee report itself includes, right below where it has the article number, the language of the warrant article itself. That's the notice to the public and the voters as to what topics are going to be coming up. You'll see an explanation from the Finance Committee, and then you'll see, in most cases, recommendations of the Finance Committee and the Select Board. So that's a document that we should be working off of. And I'd like to recognize the chair of the Select Board for a motion on the Upper Cape.
Yes, Madam Moderator, I would like to move that we take Article 9 on the annual meeting, which is the Upper Cape Quad Regional Technical High School budget.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I understand the reason for this is that the superintendent of the Upper Cape Regional Technical High School District is here. I believe he has 7 of these that he has to attend. So as a courtesy to him, I'd like to take this out of order. The motion made and seconded to take Article 9 out of order. If you're in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed? Is there a motion on Article 9?
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $3,632,191 as its share of the operating and capital costs of the Upper Cape Cod Regional Vocational Technical High School District for the fiscal year 2026, July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article 9. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the article? Seeing no one standing, waiting to be heard, we'll go to a motion on, we'll go to a vote on Article 9. All those in... Did you want to speak? I wasn't sure if you did. Oh, okay. I know that in the past you had deferred on making a presentation. But I see no one here that's standing to ask questions or be heard on this particular article, so we'll go to a vote. All those in favor of the motion on Article 9, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously on a voice vote. So, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you very much, Madam Moderator, to Derek Sullivan, to the members of the Select Board, members of the Finance Committee, and to the members of the town of Wareham. Upper Cape Tech truly appreciates your support of our school, your vocational school, of our students. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So at this point, we're going to go to what's called the consent agenda. I think that most people who attend regularly probably are familiar with this, but if you are not, basically these are items which are fairly routine items that are non-controversial. So we take them all up as one body. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out each of the articles that are on the consent agenda. If there's anyone that thinks that any of the articles should be taken up separately and not part of the consent agenda, please simply signify by stating hold, and we'll hold that article to be taken up separately. So, perhaps I should get a motion first on this. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that the town vote to approve Article 1, Election of Officers, Article 2, Recurring Business, Article 3, Compensation of Certain Public Officials, Article 4, FY26 Revolving Funds, Article 11, Community Preservation Fund Reserves, Article 12, Transfer of McKinley-Vento Funds to Transportation Revolving Account by transferring $79,080 from the McKinley-Vento Funds to the Transportation Revolving Account, and further that the town pass over Article 6 Capital Plan.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on the consent agenda. Let me reread those articles. Article 1, Election of Officers. Article 2, Recurring Business. Article 3, Compensation of Certain Public Officials. Article 4, FY26 Revolving Funds. Article 11, Community Preservation Fund Reserves. Article 12, Transfer of McKinney-Vento Funds to Transportation Revolving Account by transferring $79,080 from the McKinney-Vento Funds to the Transportation Revolving Fund, and further that the town pass over Article 6 Capital Plan. Is there anything further to be said on the consent agenda?
Madam Moderator, I'd like to pull out Article 12.
If you could state your name first
I'm
for the
sorry,
record.
Brenda Ekstrom, Precinct 2.
Okay. So we're going to pull out Article 12, and that will come up in due course as part of the
Thank you.
lottery. Is there anything further to be said on the motion on the consent agenda? Seeing no one else standing, I will proceed to a vote on the consent agenda, which will be Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, Article 4, Article 11, and to pass over Article 6. All those in favor of the motion on the consent agenda, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by voice vote unanimously. Article 13. Is there a motion on Article 13?
I move that the town vote to approve and fund the contracts between the town and unions as printed in the warrant.
Second.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded on Article 13, union contracts. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 401.
May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 700.
Is there anything to be said on the motion on Article 13?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I go through these. We've had about 8 union contracts here that we've been working on. They first started in October, but we didn't get most of them done until the last few weeks. So it's been an effort. So what we do here is I don't need a transfer of funds of money. We have it available through the reserve and in the FY26 budget. I'll give you a highlighted, or we would be here all night, of really the classification and compensation and what the cost is per each one of these contracts for the first year of funding, and I'll move on to the next one. So I'm going to try and do them in order, I think, as they're presented, but if not, I apologize. So the first one is the Wareham Clerical Union. And on that one, the real big thing we've done is we've brought them from 37 and a half hours to 40 hours. That is a cost to the town. So in order to do that, we limited their increase for FY25 to 1% and froze all steps. So, and then in year 2, we've adjusted the salary schedule by adding a new step 9, which is 3% greater than step 8. On year 2, we've also increased the salary schedule by 2%. Then year 3, 2% salary schedule increase. If after completing 10 years of service with the town, a bargaining unit member will receive an annual payment equal to $1,000, and after 20 years, $1,500. So this one is we've estimated at cost of $41,000 between 15 full-time employees, which would be a cost of $2,733.
Is there anything further to be said under the motion on Article 13? I'm sorry.
I've got about 7 to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've done that to you before,
Sorry,
and I
folks.
apologize, Mr. Sullivan. No, the voters need to have the information.
Wareham Communication Officers. These are the dispatchers, so the 911 calls, who's dispatching the police, obviously important. Most of this is just some of the language of some shift bidding, but really the compensation plan. They currently receive 2 sets of stipends, one for $1,750 for EMD and another for $1,000. So when we're trying to attract talent, what do people look at? They only look at the hourly rate. They don't care that there's these other monies. So what we've been trying to do is put that money into the base. They were receiving it anyways. And then we adjust their salary schedule by 2%. And then we'd also, we call smoothing out the salary schedule. So each step is you advance a year. So steps 1 through 8, it's a 1-year advancement. And then in FY 2025, the people with 20 years of longevity would get increased by $1,000. FY 26, so the second year of the contract, a 2.5% increase, and 27, a 2.5% increase. So their cost is, there's 8 members. It's just under $25,000, so about $3,118 per member. Police officers. I don't think I need to describe their duties. I'm sure we know what they do. So in going through the main parts, there's 2 things. One, there's the cost of living adjustments for the 3 years of the contract. So those are at a 2% year 1, 2% year 2, 2% year 3. And then there's something called POST, which is professional standards. in recognition of post-commission requirements and the introduction of body cameras, the salary schedule gets adjusted. Why are we doing this? Well, the Department of Labor Relations has been giving awards to police unions in the amount of 2%, 2%, and 2% because post was brought down on them, and it changes their working conditions. In other words, there's now this other authority that people can complain to, and they can choose to basically decertify police officers and take away their livelihood. It's also been, if you will, a burden on our community. We lost the summer seasonals because of it, and it's a lot of administrative work. In fact, the chief has to now certify for the good moral character of officers with no standard or definition of that. So that's why you'd see the 2%, 2%, 2% as well. One of the other things we've done is they currently get an educational incentive. It is a flat fee. We're increasing that for year 1, year 2. But there's another issue that's come about. It has a good and a bad to it. They've created a hybrid civil service where officers can basically, without having to lateral through civil service, can choose which department they want to go to. So now when you think about us, our competition isn't just our neighbors. We're in think about a 1-hour commute radius. That's up to about Boston, out to maybe Brewster, and over to about North Providence. That's our competition. A lot of communities have been bringing in the educational incentive back to the percentages, which is 10% for associate's degree, 20% for baccalaureate, and 25% for master's degree. So what we've done, again, is change some of the fees in year 1 and year 2. Year 2, it's $4,500 for associates. Year 2, bachelor's is $11,000, master's or JD $14,500. But we know that we've already lost some officers at some of the places that have the full educational incentive. So what we've done is on the last day of the contract brought back the full educational incentive. There's a cost to that, obviously, but it's also we need to retain talent and be able to hire spots. We don't want to go back to where we basically had 3 to 4 officers on a shift. That was not good for this community. So that's one of the main things on there. We're also, again, getting the introduction of body cameras into this, which I think helps the officers and the public. So looking at this, there are a lot of officers. There's 37 officers, it's actually not a lot for our town this size, but when you're costing these out, it can be a lot of money. So it's this contract we've looked at is for those costs about $152,493. Divide that by the 37, we're looking at about $4,121 per officer. EMT, these are not firefighters. We run the EMS department. It is what's called a third service, so just the ambulance service. A lot of their corrections just been about some of the hours, funeral leave. We have done a little cleaning and clothing allowances. We brought that into their base before, but we're allowing up to about $500 for year 1 and $300 in years 2 and 3. You can imagine what gets on their clothes running an ambulance. So. Then we've made the adjustment to their salary schedule and $27.50 with a 3% differential between each. We've had to adjust this basically to become competitive again, and we've also created a shift officer. So this is the one department where it's the department head and all the other staff are working specifically on the ambulance or what they're doing. So this allows for one of the shift EMS folks to take a bit of an ownership, tracking certain things and doing some of the extra paperwork that needs to be done. And then effective July 1 in 2026, so we're going to add a new step 9 that'll be 3% greater than step 8. And we'll also going to delete step 1 and increase salary schedule by step 2. Why did we delete step 1? It's just not a competitive rate to bring it in. But if I make step 2 the new step 1, what happens is somebody always feels like they got set backwards. Well, I was step 4 before, I'm step 3 now. Well, it's an increase, but it's still, some folks, it's really upsetting for them. So we decided to keep it nice and clean. And then that was that was year 3. So this group is 15 full-time employees, and I've got $48,304 for the cost, so about $3,220 per employee. Right, municipal maintenance and custodians. So this one we've changed up a little bit, trying to make sure that they get getting some of their gear a little sooner. They get on their 3-month anniversary instead of the 6-month. We were running in originally where some of the folks would, at one point you were hiring one day, and it seemed like people were leaving the next, and you were buying them gear, so we didn't want to do that anymore. This just kind of gets them it a little sooner. So with municipal maintenance, they have on-call requirements, and again, this has been sort of the same thing. They received this on-call that was worth there's 2 hours of OT every week built into their base, built into their pay. So we put that into their base. So now their hourly rate reflects that, and we're able to hire people. We've also done the steps should all be 3% in between, and we've done so people that are going out for licenses that we can use, like a Class A license or a 4E hydraulic certification with at least a Class B, or a 4G hydraulic with at least a Class B, they will receive $500 for each one of those, because that's something that benefits us, the town. But the max they can receive is $1,500. They just can't keep on going out there sort of willy-nilly. And then 2%. Looking at it, I had the 18 full-time employees, and actually with the it's closer to about 2,600 per employee on there. I'm almost done, folks. I swear. I started going. The library union. It is a union of 3, so nothing crazy on this one. It's the total cost for the 3 of them is $8,269, so about $2,756 per member. Now I've got 2 more left, which is the steel workers. These were the negotiated together. So I'll go over some of the. I'll go over the salary, and then it's just the same for each one of them. Give you the costs. So effective July 1, 2025, adding a step 10, that's 3% greater, and then 2.5% for the other folks that aren't eligible. Well, the other folks, July 1, 2026, so year 2, 2.5% increase. Year 3, a 2% increase in creating a step 10 there. So this is the local unit number 7. That's the non-department head group. So that runs from like bookkeeper to actually animal control officer up to assistant town accountant. So it's about $63,618. There's 26 of them. So just about $2,447. Then the department heads, which is the upper steelworker unit, is the same. I've got 13 active for this, which would be $59,020, so about $4,540. So, thank you.
Thank you. That's a lot of work, I think. A lot of hours on that. I think that Mrs. Ekstrom, I think you were standing first. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, though. With the time being 7:35, I don't know how it works. Should we suspend this until after the special town meeting? Should we finish this one up? Because it may...
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for that reminder. So the special town meeting within this annual town meeting. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn this annual town meeting and to recess this annual town meeting.
I'll make a motion to recess the regular town meeting.
Regular town meeting and
Second.
until the conclusion of the special town meeting. But thank you. I had lost track of the time. Is there a motion to that effect?
She made it and I seconded it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So we'll now proceed to the special town meeting.
I have a question. Excuse me. Can I ask a question of that gentleman?
Pardon me?
I'd like to ask a question of that gentleman.
So I think that because we're recessing the annual town meeting, we'll take up your question on Article 13 when we come back after the special town meeting. The special town meeting is scheduled for 7:30, so I'm required to do that.
I just want to ask one question of that gentleman. We're giving all these people progressive pay raises. I understand that.
No. See, you don't, what we're going to do procedurally is, there's been a motion made and seconded and passed to recess the annual town meeting, which is what we're in right now, Article 13 on the union contracts. We are going to open the special town meeting, and at the conclusion of the special town meeting, we will get back to Article 13 with your questions. So at that point, that would be the point where it's appropriate for you to ask Mr. Sullivan if that's what you wish to do.
But I assure you, I will not read it all again, okay?
No, please. I will recognize you when we get back to the annual town meeting. Okay, so I'm going to declare the special town meeting open at 7:37 p.m. Again, I'd ask that the town clerk confirm that the warrant for the special town meeting has been properly posted and certified. Yes, ma'am. And she's confirmed that to me. So again, the same ground rules which I outlined before also apply to this special town meeting. And the special town meeting is also subject to the so-called lottery. So, I'm sorry. So we'll proceed again to we have a consent agenda also for the special town meeting.
I move that the town vote to approve Article S2, Fund Parking Program, by transferring the sum of $70,000 from the receipts reserved for appropriation parking and Onset Pier account to fund the parking program and Onset projects. Article S6, PEG access receipts to Wareham Community TV, by transferring the sum of $246,209.48 from PEG access receipts reserved for appropriation to fund the Wareham Community TV, also known as Wareham Media. Article S7, Harbor Service Permit Receipts Reserved for Appropriations account as printed in the Finance Committee report. Article S13, Return unused funds from completed projects and further that the town pass over. Article S5, Prior year's bills.
Is there a second on the motion on the consent agenda? Motion made and seconded on the consent agenda. Before we get to the reports of the Select Board and the FinCom, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll read all the specific articles. If there's anything that any voter wishes to take up separately from the consent agenda, just simply state hold when I read the article. So Article S2, Fund Parking Program, by transferring the sum of $70,000 from the receipts reserved for appropriation parking at Onset Pier account to to fund the parking programs and onset projects. Article S6, PEG access receipts to Wareham Community TV by transferring the sum of $246,209.48 from PEG access receipts reserved for appropriation to fund Wareham Community TV, also known as Wareham Media. Article S7, Harbor Service Permit Receipts reserved for appropriations account is printed in the Finance Committee report. Article S13, Return unused funds from completed projects, and further that the town pass over Article S5, prior year bills. So hearing no holds, we'll proceed to the motion on the consent agenda, but first if I could get the report of the Select Board.
Select Board recommends favorable action on Articles S2, S6, S7, and S13, 400.
And S5 as well, the passing.
Pass over.
Yes, thank you. May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action on all of these articles.
Okay. Is there anything further to be said on the motion on the consent agenda? Seeing no one standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion on the consent agenda. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by voice vote unanimously. Article S4.
I move that the town transfer the sum of $350,000 from certified free cash to fund the following items: collective bargaining reserve, $100,000, Bayview Park and Onset Pier supplemental, $200,000, emergency operations, $50,000.
Is there a second on that motion? Motion made and seconded on Article S4, transfers of available funds. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 400.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 600.
Is there anything to be said on the motion on Article S4?
Thank you. You'll notice we're not going to put any extra money into the stabilization fund or OPEB fund. We did make the transfers in fall to them. And then the other one, the main one really is the Bayview Park and Onset Pier supplemental. We've been doing the massive project over in Bayview Park. It's been going well. There's been some extra costs, like the granite wall along Onset Ave. When they had to redo that, we looked at it, and half of it was concrete. So we've made the rest of it granite. It really looks, I think it looks gorgeous. It's a centerpiece of Onset visually right there. And also when we were going down looking at the pier, we noticed in front of it we have all the old sidewalks, but this beautiful park. And we want to try and get those sidewalks to match up to what we've done in the parks. You really have a great entrance point for our residents and visitors. So that's what we're looking for, Bayview Park and the Onset Pier supplemental. Thank you.
Is there anything further to be said on the motion on Article S4, transfers of available funds? Seeing no one standing, waiting to be heard, we'll proceed to a vote on Article S4. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote unanimously. Article S12. Is there a motion on Article S12?
Article S12, Swifts Beach Recreational Access and Rehabilitation. I move that the town vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Undesignated Fund or any other monies available in a Community Preservation Fund under the category of open space the sum of $250,000 to fund the restoration and rehabilitation at the entrance to the Swifts Beach recreational area located at the end of Swifts Beach Road.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S12. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to this article?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. The Swiss Beach project is we've been coming along and doing some things in the area of Swiss Beach. We redid the playground. We were looking, if you go all the way down Swiss Beach Road to the end, you essentially have that road to nowhere. It's starting to degrade at the end of it where the bench is, and we've been looking at how to make that a better entry point and amenities for the Swiss Beach area and visitors. So looking down that, what we want to do is remove most of the pavement, create an accessible, if you will, path down through it with another seating area, add the Moby mats, so the mobility mats that can go through there, do a turnaround, really not a turnaround, but a drop-off part, so people, instead of parking, blocking the area, are dropping off, and make it so people with accessibility issues, but also, as not too long in my past, a parent bringing young kids, either strollers or bringing the big wagon filled with everything along. It makes it accessible. Also we'll have the signage for the park, and it really opens up makes the space more accessible for really a premier recreational opportunity. So we appreciate the Community Preservation Committee looking at it and saying that it fits the CPC protocols, and respectfully request for your approval on this. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 4-0-0.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee voted favorable, approval 6-0-0.
Okay. Is there anything further to be said on the motion on Article S12? Seeing no one standing, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the motion under Article S12, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a majority voice vote. Article S11. Is there a motion on Article S11?
Article S11, Riverwalk Acquisition. I move that the town vote to appropriate from the Community Preservation Undesignated Funds or any other available monies in the Community Preservation Fund under the category of open space the sum of $1,200,000 for the town by and through the Conservation Commission to purchase a permanent conservation restriction that complies with MGL Chapter 184, Sections 31 to 33, on 19.37 acres in Wareham, described as Lot 4 on a plan titled Assessor's Plats 51 and 52, Lots 11A, 1007, 1001, 1004A, 190, 191, 227, and 245 Cremisa Road, Wareham, associated with the Riverwalk acquisition product, and to authorize the Conservation Commission and/or the Select Board to sign any and all agreements and instruments as may be necessary or expedient to complete said purchase.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S11. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the article? I'll recognize Mr. Lester, the chair of the CPC.
Yes, I'm Patrick Lester, Precinct 1. I rise to request that the body accept a motion to allow Alexandra Zola, who is the Executive Director of the Wareham Land Trust, to speak. She is a non-resident.
Just one, put that on hold just for a moment, so if I could get the report and recommendation of the Select Board.
Select Board recommends favorable action 3-0-1.
And could I get the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends approval 330.
So going back to your request that Alexandra Zolo of the Wareham Land Trust, I understand that she is not a Wareham voter, and you're asking for the privilege of the floor from her. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed? You have the floor. If you could state your name just so we have that for the record.
Good evening. I'm Alexandra Zolo, Executive Director of the Wareham Land Trust. Since starting my job in September, I have had the privilege of getting to know some of the beautiful spaces that make Wareham special. With 54 miles of coastline and the Osprey greeting me on my way to work each morning, I feel both inspired and very lucky to be doing the work that I do. I am here tonight to present Article S11, which proposes using community preservation funds to preserve 19.37 acres known as the Riverwalk, located on Cromeset Neck between the Weebiantic and Wareham Rivers. I am asking you to support this acquisition, a proposal which comes from the continuing partnership between the Land Trust and the town to preserve strategic open space. This parcel is ideal for conservation land for many reasons, but let's start with 3. It's a smart financial deal. It is not the right place for housing, and Wareham deserves more places where people can connect with nature and enjoy the unique beauty of this town's landscapes. So let's peel back those 3 arguments and dive in a little bit. The first, this is a smart deal and the numbers make sense. This is a strong return on investment with the full appraised value of the conservation restriction that the town would buy at $1.2 million. And we are applying for a state grant this summer that could reduce the town's net cost to $900,000. That's a strong return for protecting nearly 20 acres of important open space. The proposed community preservation funds are meant for this. Wareham adopted the Community Preservation Act to create a dedicated fund for purchasing open space. These funds are already set aside, and the purchase will not result in any additional property tax increase. There is little loss in tax revenue with this project. The town receives less than $50 annually for this land. The protection of this property will ensure that there is no increased demand for costly town services, such as fire, police, and school associated with residential development. The second, this is not the right place for housing. 10 of the 12 potential house lots are in a mapped flood zone, putting residents and their added septic systems at risk while increasing pressure on town infrastructure and emergency services. This property has important ecological significance. With a state-designated rare species habitat, and it is vital for salt marsh migration. These marshes absorb floodwaters, support biodiversity, and store more than 10 times more carbon than forests, making them very key to our coastal resilience. And the irreversible fragmentation of development would cut off a natural corridor, blocking the movement of marshes and wildlife and undermining the landscape's ability to adapt to rising seas. It's the wrong location for building. Thirdly, and I think most excitingly, conserving this property protects lands that expands access, honors Wareham's values, and creates opportunities for connection. This project improves public access to nature, providing a mile of new woodland trails overlooking the river, connects to 30 acres of existing open space, and it will include a new parking area to welcome residents and visitors to a beautiful part of town. It aligns with town goals, directly supporting the Open Space and Rec Plan and helping to fulfill the Community Preservation Act's vision of preserving Wareham's natural character and quality of life. Lastly, this project helps promote community stewardship and care. The Wareham Land Trust will cover all ongoing costs, manage the land, maintain trails, and engage the community through educational and volunteer programs that inspire pride and stewardship. In closing, by voting yes tonight, you are advancing smart, cost-effective conservation without raising taxes. You are protecting a climate-resilient, ecologically valuable landscape, and you are helping Wareham fulfill its vision of a connected, nature-rich future for all, including those that may get up here and dispute these facts. Let's protect this land, not just for today, but for generations to come. Wareham is worth it. On behalf of the Land Trust, I ask that you please vote yes on Article S11. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could hold your applause, you can voice your opinion when you vote yes or no on an article. Yes, if you could, gentleman to my left, if you could please state your name, with the red hat there.
Yes, please. My name is Gerard Cardillo. I live on Lott Street in Wareham here. I'd like to know, two of the people on the Finance Committee, 3 people voted yes and 3 people voted no. Is that correct? Where is this money coming from? If it's not, it's got to be tax money. The elderly people in this town cannot afford any more taxes.
So if there's anyone that wishes to answer that.
That woman to respond.
No, I'm going to ask if anyone. So here's the thing I want to caution folks on. I don't want to see any extraneous conversations back and forth by people out in the audience. The gentleman has asked a question. Through me, I'm going to ask if there's anyone on the stage that wishes to answer your question.
I can answer that question. I can ask the question.
I'm going to recognize the chair of the FinCom.
The money comes from CPC funds. These are funds that are already collected and are in the bank. They are basically a surcharge on higher-end property that the town approved years ago. And this is part of the undesignated amount. There's approximately $2.3 million in the undesignated fund right now. So this would come out of that.
Why isn't that given back to taxpayers?
Well, no. Let me just caution you,
okay.
All right? So this is not going to be, you go back and forth. Any questions that anyone has, first of all, you have to be recognized by me, and then the question will go through me to ask if there's someone that is willing and is able to answer your question. So I don't want to get the back and forth thing. So you have another question. Go ahead.
Yes, of that same woman. She said there's surplus funds in that particular fund. Why isn't that money given back to the taxpayers?
So if anyone wishes to, I think I know the answer to that, but if anyone wishes to answer the question.
There is no way to return that money to the taxpayers.
Yes.
It is designated for a particular purpose. It has been collected, and it must be spent for that purpose.
This property that she's talking about, yeah, I don't know where this $1.2 million comes from. She says it's not coming from the taxpayer. Where is it coming from?
Community preservation is a 3% surcharge on the levy base on your home after the first $100,000. So it's it's not. So if your taxes were on your house, say $10,000, it would be, let's say, like $300 or something like that. It's already been established years ago. They're not increasing it. These are the funds that have been coming from that every year. So this would not be an increase. It's something that's already been established. And then there's also a percentage match from the Commonwealth as well. I get it. They get their money from taxes, but that's coming to our community. So it's matching funds to our community. But this would not be an increase to your taxes, nor would it be something that's returned.
Well, why can't this project be done with private funds and volunteers and donations?
So that seems to be a rhetorical question.
Yes,
it is, I think. Did you have anything further that you want to state on your position?
Well, my questions haven't been answered.
Well, I believe that they have, but I think, is there something else that you wish to state, as your position?
Well, it seems like if this goes through, this is going to be on a tax bill. Those things have to be maintained. That's bullshit.
No, it's not on your taxes. You already paid it.
So, the gentleman to my right that's at the microphone. No, what's that? I believe the question has been answered, so I don't want to go over the same material. Yes, sir.
I'm Patrick Tropiano. I just want to make one correction for the record in case the press is listening or whatever. The Finance Committee said they recommended favorably 3-3. That is not a vote at all. There's nothing there. And it's not a favorable vote. In fact, nothing happened. I just want to make that clear. I'm not against this issue at all. I just want you to know in case somebody picks it up and says they recommended favorable action. That's all.
So I think you're next, Mr. Camerano, and then Mrs. Ekstrom.
Thank you. Dominic Camerano wants it. I just have, I'm all for community preservation and everything, but the price, $1.2 million. You're talking about, over $100,000 per acre. And if anyone has gone down there and looked at it, this is a swamp. I'm sorry. It says that you could build, so many houses. I'm going to say that our zoning would not allow to build maybe 2 houses at the most. I just want to know where that amount came from. Who said it was assessed at 1.2 million? It can't be because we're only getting 50 in taxes. If it was worth 1.2 million, the tax rate would be much higher. So I'd like someone to explain to me 1.2 million for 20 acres of swamp. Thank you.
So at this point, I'm going to recognize Sarah Corbett from the Select Board, and then Mrs. Ekstrom. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Well, I'm sorry I can't tell you about the real estate assessment. That came from another source. But what I can tell you is not swamp. I went for a walk there. I don't like swamps. I would not walk in swamps. We went for an absolutely lovely walk through an absolutely lovely piece of property this town should own so that other people can walk through this lovely piece of property that is not swamp and enjoy it.
Well,
we can't get into a discussion. Not getting into a discussion with you, sir. So I would strongly urge that you voted in favor of this. It is a treasure for this town to have. This is who we are. We are upland. We are coastland. We are beautiful. We should buy this land.
Thank you. Mrs. Ekstrom.
I am also in favor of getting this land, but I have a couple of questions. One, out of the 1.2, how much is going to the property owners and how much is going to the land trust? Do we have those numbers?
If there's someone that's able to answer the question, yes, Mr. Slavin.
Thank you. $1.2 million goes to the Gleason family, period.
The entire amount is going to the property owner?
Yes, we're paying full commercial value for the property, basically.
Okay, because now here is, as the lovely woman from the land trust spoke about how we're getting about $50. That is, I have brought it up to the Finance Committee in the past. I have also brought it up to other people. The issue we have with the assessments and the bogus assessments. This property, did it ever come in front of the Board of Selectmen as a chapter land property that we had to buy? If someone could answer that for me.
It isn't. It is in chapter land. It has not come to us to be purchased.
Because it has been listed as chapter land. I went to the assessors to find out about this, about all our chapter lands. And I got the runaround. I ended up having to go to the state. I got the runaround there. I ended up finally getting it. And the listings, if it isn't a complete 10 acres, then it can't be chapter land. One of these is 11, and one of them is 19. One is 4.7, one is 6.2. So those,
You have 30 seconds.
Those two cannot be listed under chapter lands. So these people who we're going to pay $1.2 million for have been getting a discounted rate of pennies on the dollar on their property for decades because it has been bogusly rated as a tax rate of chapter land when it shouldn't have been. So I'm in favor of this. I just think it's outrageous.
Please sum up.
I just think it's outrageous that we're going to give them $1.2 million.
Please sum up. You're actually out of time.
They have been giving us the runaround on that money. And
Your time is up, Mrs. Ekstrom. Please step back. Thank you. Gentleman to my left.
My name is J.C. Weber. I've lived in Onset for 30 years now, and I'm working marine science. And I just wanted to echo what Alex said about the importance of the salt marshes and wetlands to our community. I mean, not only are they beautiful, but they serve as a buffer for storms. With sea level rise, those marshes and wetlands need to be able to migrate, and so they need to be able to migrate back. And if there's development, that's going to be impeded. And so by preserving them, we're basically ensuring the wildlife and the fisheries is preserved. Our current infrastructure and homes and town have a buffer and are safeguarded. And also, too, the question about the CPA funds and how that money gets back to the taxpayer, a vote yes gets that back to the taxpayer, because now if we purchase this land, we're going to have trails, the community has access to it for years and years to come. So that's how you get your money back.
Thank you. Mrs. Slavin.
Thank you. Sandy Slavin, Precinct 3. I am a member of CPC. I have been a member of it for 18 years. And yes, this qualifies as a valid project that can be funded with Community Preservation Act funds. But I stand here opposing the purchase. I know there's a lot of applause behind me that's for this, but give me a second. In the past, CPA funds have been given at $1.6 million to 7 projects for the Land Trust. They now want 1.2 for one project. And if it says it's not a right place for housing, then why is the $1.3 million based on real estate property if it was developed? I'm surprised that it's just a lot of money. Now, yes, CPA has funds available, but keep in mind we have other projects that are coming down the works that we'll need our funds for, as opposed to spending this $1.2 million. We're looking at funds that could be used to repair the North Water Street project, funds for the Indian Mound Playground, which is totally useless and a hazard to bees, so it has to be worked on. There's some talk about some green space around Hammond School. We have an evaluation coming in for a historic building for the town hall for windows and exterior. We need funds for that.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask if you can may I have one more minute? Because
Yes.
I want to read off to you all of the places.
You have one more minute.
These are all the places in town that are already used for walking trails, not counting Cape Cod Canal or Miles Standish. Okay, here we go. Horseshoe Pond Dam, Minot Forest, Agawam River Trail, Birch Island and Conant Hill, Westgate Conservation, Great Nick Conservation, Great Nick Wildlife, Hammond Reserve, Bryant Farm, Tweedy Barns, YMCA, Gleason, Lehman Preserve, Agawam River, Pine River Barrens, Ahern Property, Faring Hill Conservation, High School Track, the Mark Cove Conservation, the Philip Weld Forest, Stone Path, Crooked River, Sawyer Property, Mark Cove, Weweanta Conservation, Lopes Pathway, and the Red Brook Trail. All of these are walking trails. Do we need $1.2 million for another mile of walking? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Gentleman to my left, is it Mr. Peabody? You have the floor.
Hello? Microphones. I want to say I'm heavy in favor of this.
Just for the record, if you could state your full name, that would be great.
Kendall Peabody, owner of Lucky Go Brewing, live on Linwood Ave. I'm heavy in favor of this project. Not only is it something we should do, it's something we have to do. Like, our town is, like, the thing that makes this beautiful is our culture and our land and our natural beauty we have. And every time we take a little bit more of it away, we lose a little bit of that charm. And I remember growing up and like on Great Neck Road and it being just nothing but forest and it being beautiful and glorious. And now it lost a little bit more and a little bit more. And I think just having a nice, beautiful walking path and having nice sanctuary there would be just amazing. The person before me mentioned all those paths, and honestly, I think we should have more. I think having more hiking and more land we can use is just as important as growing our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. A gentleman to my right in the blue shirt.
Yes, my name is Tony Romano. I live on Swiss Beach Road. I'm not sure what precinct that is. But
That's okay. Go ahead.
I frequently, almost every day, walk along another path that's on the other side of that Promesit. There's a conservation area there, and it's beautiful, as I'm sure this is. And there aren't that many people that use it, which I'm kind of glad of. But at any rate, the thought occurs to me that if nothing is done with this land, if nobody buys it, it sounds as though nothing is really going to be built there. So I'm not sure why it's necessary to alter the arrangement at all. Again, I'm all for conservation areas, but if we don't buy this, what is wrong with it just staying just the way it is, since nothing can be built there, as I understand it?
Thank you. Yes, Ms. McHale.
Good evening, Nancy McHale. I'm treasurer of the Wareham Land Trust. So yes, I come with looking for your support for this project, but perhaps I can give you a little bit more information. Something is going to happen with this property. The property has been conserved by the Gleason family for generations. So without this now being preserved, it is going to be developed. It is going to be developed. We have seen through numerous projects through conservation and planning, developments in areas that should not have been developed. Houses up on 16-foot stilts and septic systems that are adding to our nitrogen load in our estuaries. This is an opportunity for us to now become the stewards of this property. It is our right and our responsibility to use CPA funds and to ask for your support on this. I would say that any project needs three things. It needs a property of high conservation value, it needs a willing seller, and it needs available funding. The Gleason family, have you ever tried to figure out with 5 siblings who all have very, very different lifestyles and who need different things from what they have inherited? Have you ever thought of what a task that is? The Land Trust had
If you could sum up, you have 15 seconds.
We have an independent appraisal done, and that's where the numbers came from. The Land Trust is putting in the other $125,000 in order to make up the 1.325 that it appraised at for the whole total package. I hope I've answered some of your questions in my talk, but if not now,
Your time is actually up, so...
Okay. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate it.
Thank you. The lady behind you at the microphone.
Good evening. Annie Hayes. I would like to reassert the practical and the science. I guess it was about a decade ago. I was at a meeting in Marion. FEMA was changing the flood maps, and people in the town were panicking and outraged. And there were two speakers at the meeting. One was a realtor and someone well acquainted with insurance, and another was the director of the Marine Sciences of UMass. And I remember very poignantly the marine science professor said that if you want to protect your property, the best thing you can do is to buy coastland marshes. Band together, don't build an addition or a new kitchen, buy coastland properties.
Thank you. And did you rise to speak? The lady behind you in the blue. You have the floor.
Hi, my name's Cindy Burke. I live in Onset. I just had a question to piggyback on what Mrs. Slavin had brought up. So if the $1.2 million is spent on purchasing this land, then where does the money come for all those other projects that were also mentioned, as far as like the North Water Street renovation project, all of the other things that are needed? Is this all of the money going towards one thing?
If there's someone that is willing to answer and able to answer the question. Can you answer the question, Mrs. Slavin? Yes.
I am the treasurer of CPC, and yes, if this project is accepted, we have at the end of the year $880,000 left in our reserve account for those type of projects. We expect an estimated revenue of FY26 that will bring us back to about $3.5 million if this is passed. And yes, that's all the money we have right now to handle these special upcoming projects. I think what we've done for Bayview, what we've done for the playgrounds, all four of them, well spent, as opposed to...
Anyways, you snuck that in on me. And anyway, did you have something further you wish to say? You still have the floor.
I just wanted that question.
Okay. All
Margaret,
right, thank you.
Margaret, I can answer a little bit.
Okay, please, Mrs. Corbett.
So Ms. Slavin brought up the Water Street project. That's being funded entirely through grants from the state. This is nothing that the Community Preservation Committee has anything to do with. And I would just like to reiterate, the money is refunded every year. Not always the same. It depends on property taxes. But so it's going to these projects this year. Next year, other people will apply, and they will either be awarded or not awarded. The money's not disappearing forever on this one project.
I just asked to move the question.
I think I'd like to hear from the two speakers that are at the microphone right now over on my right, and then I'll entertain your motion.
Thomas Pickey, Precinct 1. We've heard conflicting opinions about whether the property in question is developable or not. And for me, the issue is not that you can't build a house there on 15-foot tall stilts, which requires that in a storm surge, 15-foot velocity storm surge area. The concern that I have, and why I think most of this property should not be developed, not necessarily by buying it, but by the health department restricting these stilt houses to areas only where there's sanitary sewer. Because I always question, what do people do when a storm surge comes and they live in a house with a septic system? That system is going to fail. So if we pass legislation or a bylaw that prevents houses from being developed in 15-foot velocity storm surge areas, we've solved the problem of coastal development in marshy areas along the coast. So there's a different approach that we can go to prevent further development without having to buy up all the land that's left in the town. Because most of the land that's left was undevelopable because it was poorly drained or marginally drained.
Mr. Lester.
Pat Lester, Precinct 1. I think it's important for people who normally don't engage in the funding process for the town to understand how CPA funds are generated and how much annually that fund is recharged. So that there's a handout which is available to anyone at the front, which is a community preservation report. And we don't know what kinds of projects are going to come before the committee. We have 2 town meetings a year, and we sometimes get applications and sometimes we don't. So we don't really know how much funding is going to be requested. But if on the report for FY 26, the upcoming year, we estimate that the surcharge that we've talked about will generate $1.1 million in available funds, new funds, on top of any balance that we have. We will also receive a state match, an estimate of $300,000. We will get interest on those deposits of roughly $100,000. And we may increase reserves. What that's saying is, from our best estimate, for next year.
You have 30 seconds, so if you want to conclude, that would be great.
I will be able to finish that. We will have an estimated available funds of $3.59 million. We don't know what that's going to be funded for. There is adequate funds within the available balance to fund this grant request. Thank you.
Thank you. So there's a motion on the floor to move the previous question. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Motion? Okay, motion made and seconded to move the previous question. This motion itself is not debatable. If it passes, then there'll be no further debate on Article S11, and we will go to a vote. All those in favor of the motion to move the previous question, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a majority voice vote. So we're going to go to a vote on Article S11. This is a motion to acquire an interest in real estate. So it requires a 2/3 majority in order to pass. So we'll try the voice vote first. All those in favor of the motion under Article S11 Riverwalk acquisition, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. Nay. The chair is in doubt. I'd like to go to a hand count on that. So you have your yellow voting cards. All those in favor of the motion on Article S11 Riverwalk acquisition, please signify by raising your cards. Raise them high so the tellers can see them. All right. You need to sit down and please not interfere with the tellers. Teller to my left. Priscilla? 29. Teller in the... Is the middle been counted?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you folks can actually put your cards down if you just voted yes. In the middle section, please.
69.
69. On my right.
16.
And the stage and the front area.
9.
All those opposed to the motion under Article S11, Riverwalk Acquisition, please signify by raising your voting cards. Tellers all good? On my left.
6.
In the middle.
12.
12. On my right.
7.
7. And the stage in the front?
5.
5. So the vote is 123 in favor, 30 opposed. So it passes by the required two-thirds majority on the hand count. Article S14. Is there a motion on Article S14?
I move that the town vote to refer this article to the planning board for further study.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to refer this article to the planning board for further study. Is there anything further to be said on this motion? Seeing no one standing, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion to refer this article to the planning board for further study, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by voice vote unanimously. Article S9.
To approve as printed in the
You'll have
finance.
to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think your mic was not really live. Go ahead.
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S9. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the article? Before you get started, Mr. McClure may have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board.
Select Board recommends favorable action 4-0-0.
May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 6-0-0.
So, Mr. McClure, you have the floor. If you could just state your name for the record also.
Thank you. David McClure, Red Pine Lane, Wareham. I am the chairperson for the Council of Aging. We currently have 9 members required to be on our board, and as you can imagine, having 9 members is a difficult task to get. We have the highest number of any board that's in the town. So the board has asked and voted affirmatively to request the town to reduce our numbers to 7 with 2 associates, and for that I ask you for approval.
Thank you. Is anything further to be said on the motion on Article S9? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S9. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously by a voice vote. Article S10.
Article S10, Hammond School Assessment. I move that the town vote to transfer from community preservation, historic preservation reserves, or any other available monies in the Community Preservation Act Fund under the category of historic preservation, the sum of $60,000 for a grant to the town of Wareham's town administrator to contract for engineering consultation services to evaluate and report on the condition of the exterior walls, windows, and roof of the building known as Ethel E. Hammond School at 13 Highland Avenue, Onset.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S10. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to this article? Oh, I'm sorry. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action, 4-0-0.
May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee votes favorable action, 6-0-0.
Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the article? Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you. The Onset School, it was built in 1910, so it is would be considered a historic building. We did recently, within the last few years, secure the roof on it, put a new roof. We're looking to look at the rest of the outside leading up to the roof, all the sides. It's getting in a bit of rough shape, so we definitely need to take care of it before it gets worse. Currently, it's Christopher Donovan's school leases a portion of it for I think it's about $3,600 a month, and then the Wareham Tigers youth recreation use the other side. Thank you.
Is there anything further to be said on the motion on Article S10, Hammond School Assessment? Are you coming down to be recognized? All right, well, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Brenda X from Precinct 2. I brought this up before when we've been looking for money for engineering and consulting or things like that. If we're going to be repairing the school and fixing it up, why aren't we just putting out like an RFP and allowing people to come in to look at it, to see what needs to be done, and giving us quotes, rather than paying for someone to come in and give us a quote and then go out and hire somebody to come in and do it? Like, why wouldn't we? I mean, most of the time, like if I need something done in my house, like if I want a fence up, I'll call 2 or 3 fence companies and have them tell me how much they'll charge me to put up a fence. And then I pick which one, whether it's by price or by who I like the best or when they can do it, rather than hiring someone to come out and tell me how much it's going to cost to put up a fence, and then find a company that's going to put up a fence for that price. So I would suggest that maybe we just put out an RFP for somebody to come out and tell us how much it's going to cost, I mean, what needs to be fixed, and how much they'll charge us to fix it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on the motion on Article S10? You're not wishing to be heard. Seeing no one else standing, we'll go to a vote on the motion on Article S10, the Hammond School Assessment. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote majority. Tell me which lottery number it is, and then I'll do that.
17, 18, 19.
No, I know that, but what numbers come up? Okay. All right. So under our lottery system, Article S19 is the next one that's come up. Articles S17, S18, S19, and S20 have to do with the Town of Wareham bylaws. So I'm going to exercise my discretion here at this point to take these all together and in the order in which they appear in the warrant. So Article S17 will be the first article.
19.
No. Article S17. Is there a motion under Article S17? Is someone making a motion?
Sorry, I got my pages out of order.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if someone was making a motion on
No,
that.
sorry, when you called the other number, I moved my pages. Yeah. I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second. Motion made and seconded on Article S17. I'm going to recognize Julie Moran, who's the chair and of the Bylaw Review Committee, and ask you to speak to the article.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Moderator. My name is Julie Moran. I'm chair of the Wareham Town Bylaw Review Committee. I have with my this evening Jillian Wharton and Jared Fredrickson, who are members of my committee. If I can, I'd like to go one by one. We do have just a short slide presentation. So, again, this committee has spent a number of months, beginning last fall, to do the work towards reviewing and amending the bylaws for a variety of reasons. We also are doing this in concert with work that was done by the prior committee in 2013 and early into 2024. It remains a work in progress. This evening I'm going to go over our progress to date and then to provide a preview of what we expect to bring forward for the fall town meeting. The goals of the Town Bylaw Review Committee are basically three goals. They are, our charge was established in consultation with the Select Board and town officials. Mass law allows municipalities, through their bylaws, to establish laws that govern local matters, establish administrative procedures, all subject to town meeting approval, which is why we are here tonight, and ultimately the Attorney General approval. This goal number one is a comprehensive review of the bylaws to make sure they are aligned with our town charter, other town bylaws, department rules and regulations, current practice, and then full compliance with Massachusetts law. Out of that goal, we have had three action items we're going to talk about tonight through the articles. The first one is to delete provisions that are inconsistent with this alignment, to add new provisions where provisions are available, should be included, where things are missing that we felt were appropriate to include. And then the last one is to adopt gender-neutral language, and then finally to address the issue of Attorney General changes and legal law changes that can disrupt the formatting, and we have an article that we're going to talk about on that. Goal number two is a streamlining goal by substitution of a link for our very lengthy regulations in some cases. In other cases, we are looking at streamlining complex provisions, overly lengthy provisions, to streamline them to reduce any confusion, any language that is awkward. The last goal, once all of this is accomplished, is to work on confusing language, grammatical issues, awkward definitions, missing orphan provisions, all of which that we will bring again to a town meeting come next fall, or this coming fall. Next slide, please. Articles S17 gives a very limited authority to the town clerk to make non-substantive bylaw edits. And this is under very restricted circumstances. What we have found over time is that our ability to make sure that the formatting, the number sequence, the page sequence is not always as clear as it could be or accurate as it could be. And this arises mostly because the Attorney General makes regularly revisions, amendments, deletions to the bylaws that we present for his or her approval. And so what this will do, it gives the town clerk very limited authority to make non-substantive edits from time to time to correct these formatting issues. And that would include incorrect numbering, lettered sections, pages out of sync, inaccurate table of contents, orphaned articles that are left hanging because the prior article has been deleted. So again, this is a very limited authority given to the town clerk to make these non-substantive edits. Next slide, please. Article S17 empowers the review committee to adopt gender-neutral language. The current bylaws do not reflect gender-neutral text, so it authorizes the committee to adopt vocabulary.
So I'm going to, you have 10 seconds. And actually, since you've moved on to Article S18, just so you know, this is my position on this, that as to each of these articles, I'm going to treat you as if you're the petitioner. When we get to Article S18, you will have another 5 minutes to speak to that, and 19 and 20 as well. So if I could have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board on Article S17.
Select Board recommends favorable action 4-0-0.
And the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee on Article S17.
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 501.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on the motion on Article S17? Yes, if you could please state your name for the record, just so we have that each time.
My name is Gerard Cardillo. I live on Lott Street in Wareham here. I'm totally opposed to the gender discriminations in this article.
We are actually not at that point. I know that, the motion that's before us on the floor is the motion on Article S17, which has to do with the authorization to have the town clerk correct certain really typographical sorts of situations. So that's the only thing that's right now before us. We will get after we vote on this article, we will get to the Article S18, which is, I think, the one you want to speak on. Is there anything further to be said on Article S17? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S17. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by voice vote majority. Article S18.
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 4-0-0.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 5-1-0.
So, Mrs. Moran, you have the floor again on S18.
Thank you. And just to finish up on S18, some of the examples of gender-neutral language are, for instance, Board of Selectmen would now be Select Board. Chairman would now be chairperson. References to men, his, hers, woman would now be person, etc. So those are the type of changes that we would be looking to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article S18? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to a vote under the motion on Article S18. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by voice vote majority. Article S19. Do I have a motion under Article S19?
Thank you. I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded on Article S19. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 4-0-0.
May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 501.
So, Mrs. Moran, you have the floor again on S19.
Yes, S19, thank you. This article would amend the bylaws to add certain provisions which are helping us to deal with omitted, more effectively, clearly address certain issues. The first one is creating a standardized list of definitions for frequently used terms. What we have found that throughout the bylaws, there are different definitions in many of the articles. The same definition, the same term is defined differently in different articles. This will be a step forward in allowing us to retain specialized definitions within certain articles, but also at the same time creating some standard definitions that we can use throughout the bylaws. Again, this is a first step in a longer process. The next one is make a small clarification to the special town meeting warrant process. The next one is alignment with current Mass law or mirrors Massachusetts law. There are some provisions where there are inaccuracies there. House numbering is an example of changes in certain town processes. The present numbering section is no longer in practice, so we are changing that to make sure it reflects the current practice. The next one is clarifying the process of adoption of fees by department heads, by select board, by other parties, and what it discusses and what it provides is that these fees will be published on the town website. It also specifies to the extent it's applicable that each day is a separate offense, and that it replaces the current chart in the bylaws, which is both obsolete and in many cases inaccurate. And then the last one is we have many severability clauses embedded in most every article. This creates one severability clause so we can eliminate many of the disparate severability articles. Thank you.
Is there anything further to be said on the motion under Article S19? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to a motion. Yes, Mrs. Slavin.
Thank you, Sandy Slavin, Precinct 3. Housing. I can tell you how hard it is to go out there and look at sites. I am the chair of the Conservation Commission, and I find those homes are not numbered. So this will tell me that if a house is not numbered, I can cite them for a violation, if I read this bylaw correctly. To answer the question, please.
I think she's saying yes. But is there, Mrs. Moran? Did you want to answer are you able to answer the question?
This came from the 911, state law, which has been in existence for almost 20 years. So it does allow, again, at their option, to find someone if they have given them notice and they have not listed the number of their house. Again, this came out of the 911 process, which is at the state law.
Thank you for answering, because yes, it's hard for conservation, but I feel sorry for those on emergency trying to find a house and it's not numbered correctly. Thank you. I support it.
Yes. Mrs. Ekstrom.
Thank you, Brenda Ekstrom, Precinct 2. I'm just trying to read all of these. The ones, the bylaws that you've deleted, have you deleted? I'm looking at, like, for example, I know this is a stupid one, but like no person shall fire or discharge any firearm. Those are the ones, are you deleting them?
We're actually not on to the deletions yet.
Okay.
Deletions are actually Article S20.
Oh, I'm one step ahead. Okay. All right. Never mind. Then I'll wait for that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on the motion under Article S19? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to a vote on the motion under Article S19. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by voice vote unanimously. Article S20. Is there a motion on Article S20?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second. Motion made and seconded on Article S20. May I have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 4-0-0.
May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action 501.
May I And Mrs. Moran, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Moderator. Article S20 relates to proposed deletions of certain of the bylaws or certain provisions of the bylaws. And what we did for the ease of our audience, for our citizens, we divided them into 5 categories. So there are actually 5 charts. The first one is those that are covered in the town charter. There are some provisions that are in the town charter, and the feeling was that we did not necessarily need to keep those in the bylaws. And those were things like the town administrator's responsibilities relative to insurance, the fact that the assessor has certain requirements of publication of values relative to assessments. So those were just some of the examples. Chart 2 were those that are covered under Massachusetts law. There were some provisions that were word for word the Massachusetts statute, which we did not feel, and we've noticed looking at other towns do not recite Massachusetts law directly because of the issue of the law changes and your bylaw becomes problematic. So some of the examples were funds for care of cemetery lots, the tax-taking process, which is covered under Massachusetts law, street rules, I know Brenda had mentioned that, including things like disorderly conduct, firearms, handicap parking, all of which is covered more comprehensively under Massachusetts law. The fact that the state licensing of marinas is in fact done by the Division of Water Pollution, not by the Select Board, is another example. Chart 3 is those that have become obsolete. They are no longer practiced, covered by town practices in the way they're presented. And that includes the Wareham Visiting Nurse Agency, which is no longer in existence, current house numbering that we talked about earlier, street rules, hay-based casks in the street, horses in the street. Last we checked, that was not a major issue with the town, so we have deleted that. Police detail, payment of police detail that are covered now under union police contracts. The next one is the duplication of other provisions, and that was the severability clauses that I mentioned that we are deleting. And then the final one are those covered elsewhere in other towns' bylaws, wetlands bylaws, waterways bylaws, zoning bylaws, and those are, under zoning, we have a very comprehensive sign bylaw, which is more comprehensive than what is in the current bylaws. Fire department, not the Select Board, issues fire permits, have their own regulations. The Select Board does not and has not for many years issued fire burn permits. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on the motion under Article S20? Yes, Mrs. Ekstrom.
Thank you. This is the one I wanted to ask about. My only concern is that if we delete, and I know some of them are ridiculous, but if we delete these as bylaws, then what we essentially do is like the one that I had mentioned, we essentially escalate them so that they're now criminal dispositions into state law. Like, we can't just have a policeman come out and say, hey, knock it off, here's your fine. And if they want to appeal it, I think they go to the town administrator or something. They have to, it would go to the court because it's a state law then. And I think that that's one of the things. And we lose that $20 or whatever. And I don't know how much we get in our revenues for all the fines we get from bylaws, or if we get them, how much we get. But we would lose that when we delete these bylaws. So that would be my only concern. I don't know if anyone looked at that or whatever. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you wish to speak, Mrs. Moran?
Yes, if I could. One thing that I didn't mention is that all of the articles before you have been reviewed by the applicable department heads. So this was discussed. It was a recommendation that we should make reference, we should delete those that are covered by state law to make sure there isn't any confusion. So that was the recommendation. If I could just, once you finish this, I just want to give I want to give an update on where we go from here. So after you vote on this.
Well, why don't you do that now, and then we'll go to a vote, but if you
Yes.
could just
It will take a
keep it
moment.
short. Yes, please.
So if you could move to the next slide. Goal number one, we feel that we have made a tremendous amount of progress, witness here tonight. We do have some articles that we want to bring forward for town meeting. The earth removal bylaw is one is under study. We will bring that forward. We will also come to goals 2, which will mean the streamlining process and then the reforming process after all of this, which is Article 3 for the fall town meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion made and seconded on Article S20 of deletions to the bylaw. All those in favor of the motion under Article S20, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. I heard a couple of nays there, so it passed by voice vote majority. And I do want to, Mrs. Moran, I do want to thank you and the members of the Bylaw Review Committee for all your hard work. I know just looking at it, it's not glamorous, but it's a lot of hard work. So thank you very much for volunteering for that. Article S15. Is there a motion on Article S15?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S15. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 4-0-0.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee voted favorable action 6-0-0.
And I'm going to recognize Mr. Faraday, the planning director, to speak to the article.
Good evening. Article S15 speaks directly to accessory dwelling units. The report from the planning board is as follows. At a publicly advertised planning board meeting, the planning board voted unanimously to approve bringing the presented article forward to special town meeting. This change to the zoning bylaw is related to housing and only requires a majority of town meeting vote this evening. So when you look at the proposal of the ADU bylaw, it's two proposals. It's creating an ADU bylaw, and it's also lifting the moratorium that was established at our special January meeting. So within the first table, that's the use table found in the zoning bylaw, and what we're doing is creating that accessory dwelling units are buildable by right within our R130, R60, R43, R30, and MR30 districts. The second thing is the actual contents of the bylaw. I think there are two main points to address when you're looking at this bylaw compared to the current state law that is in effect that Wareham is trying to do a little differently. The first thing you'll notice is that we are requiring an additional parking space for accessory dwelling units. The map that you can see presented on the screen right now is it shows everywhere that the GATRA transportation entity has a point of embarkation. Those circles are a half-mile radius, and what the state law says is that we cannot require a parking space within the radius of those circles. So this is just a map to show you where in town that is affected. The second thing that we're trying to accomplish with the bylaw is to prohibit short-term rentals from being owned by a corporation. And a corporation is an entity that pools money to further its interests. What it does not do is it does not restrict short-term rentals if you are a single property owner, if you hold your property in a trust, or if you hold it in a partnership that has a named person to that entity. That concludes my presentation.
Is there anything further to be said on Article S15, accessory dwelling units. Is he? Yes, gentleman to my left. No, that's you. That's you. If you could state your name, then.
Scott Brown, Precinct 3. I'm looking at that map there, and by state law, it's saying that's a bus route point of debarkment or embarkment, but I believe the state law is violating federal law because those areas there don't have handicapped accessibility. So I don't think state law takes precedent in those green areas. I think maybe we have to go back to the town lawyer. There's more involved in handicap accessibility than state law. Thanks.
Yes, Mr. Bickey.
Tom Bickey, Precinct 1. I have several amendments to add to the requirements in the bylaw.
Well, tell me what they are first, and then I'll tell you. We'll figure out how to deal with them. I don't know that I want to take up multiple amendments all at the same time.
Okay, so number 9, which would follow after the 8 requirements that are in there. Mobile homes, motor homes, trailers, campers, and other mobile dwellings shall not be allowed as accessory dwelling units. Number 10, failure to obtain a certificate of registration from the Wareham Board of Health for an accessory dwelling unit shall result in a $300 per day fine for each day an unregistered accessory dwelling unit is rented or leased. That's the way we enforce the certification. Number 11, an accessory dwelling unit added to a residence shall comply with Title V septic requirements. For example, if a current home has 3 bedrooms and an accessory dwelling is adds a 4th bedroom, the septic system may be under-designed according to Title V. So that would require a homeowner to put an entirely new septic system into their property. And I want to make sure that that's the case if we're adding additional homes, additional bedrooms to systems on private septic system. So those are my 3 amendments.
So I think that we're going to take those up one by one. I think that makes sense. Okay. And I have, you need to put those in writing to me, so if we could take a couple minutes and actually put all 3 while you're writing. Wants to add mobile home, motor home, tractor trailer, other mobile dwellings shall not be allowed as accessory dwelling units. So 863, I think he's just tracking that. Right. 863 is So if you can just bear with me a moment, we're just discussing this with council.
So, motor homes, you can do this. What do you say about mobile homes? So that is probably, that'll probably get rejected. That will probably be sustained by the AG. Travel trailers, I'm not sure I know what that is, but we're just going to say that it's not a building. So that's okay. Campers, that's probably okay. Or other mobile dwellings, that's A. So state law allows that, so we can't trump that. The, we could do that, we could do that, we could do that, and, or other mobile dwellings, I have no idea what, and I don't recommend that. So if you wanted to do, I'm just gonna sort of very lightly, if you wanted to do that, campers, and I'd say take out or other mobile dwellings, I think that's okay. So yeah, that's surplus. So that doesn't matter one way. Failure to obtain a certificate of registration from the Board of Health. Okay, this is not a board. This is a zoning bylaw.
Yeah.
Not a Board of Health. I mean, I guess I really don't care. No, it's he's imposing a requirement that's not wasn't. I don't think the whole has notice.
I don't think so either.
Coming. So this, okay, I think that's a notice issue, and this. It's already in the Board of Health regulations, Josh says. So, there's also perhaps a notice issue there. I don't think it matters.
Yes, and you had to attach this to each one.
Well, they'll kick that section, but why not send it up to some place? Right. So just motorhomes. Yeah. So motorhomes, travel trailers, campers shall not be allowed, or other mobile dwellings is meaningless. So who knows what that is.
So let me restate.
This is a scope issue.
Yep.
And this.
First, it's a scope issue and it's already covered.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is how the sausage is made. That's okay. So, I don't think it's the end of the world if those things went forward. This, I'd want to have our best shot at it, which would be get rid of mobile homes. Get rid of mobile homes. Keep motorhomes, travel trailers, and campers.
Yeah, because the state statute specifically says that mobile homes.
And they look at this stuff like a hawk, so why set ourselves
especially
up
now,
for it?
especially with the way this came down, because it was really an initiative from Boston. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not something we're just trying to do.
Yes.
And I think that this particular Attorney General
I mean, it's inoffensive, I guess. If you want to let the people have their say, it's inoffensive.
I know, but see, the notice thing
The notice is a
me.
real issue.
Right.
Because, now we can kind of say, well, it's implied.
I think it is because the ADU has to do with dwelling units, so I think that is. But these other things really...
And the best place for this stuff, actually, is at the Board of Health. The Board of Health gives those regulations on shopper without going through town meeting.
Having to do with, specifically having to do with ADUs.
It's the most efficient process, and it doesn't get reviewed by the Attorney General. Wink, wink.
Yeah, see if he's willing. So
and then we're only dealing with this one.
This one is offensive to.
Well,
no, then we can deal with it. But I think what we're just saying is that we want to ask him to revise his proposed amendment. I move to amend whatever article.
Or you just restate the amendment, and then take out mobile homes. And also you have to get rid of the road and mobile dwelling. We don't know what that is. How do we enforce that? Yeah. At the end of the day, we have to be able to define what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Happy, sad, grateful, hungry, full.
If it all goes through, which is so sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah, the agent is so touchy.
As I said, they are, but also the certain things they are, right? Was this here they had a huge announcement when they, not just this one case, but when you hear this as part of the report, huge announcement, a signature piece of mine, blah, blah, blah. And I think Tom will probably agree with me on this. And they show themselves to be fairly assertive, like with the transit-oriented.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They got a favorable ruling out of the SJC. So
these are legacy pieces for them. And they're
right. So they're going to look at it a little harder than if we're saying we want to increase the side setback to 15.
Yeah. It's totally unreal. So the best product we can send up is in our interest.
Yeah. Because otherwise it looks pretty good. You don't have anything. It's clearly as of what's that?
Yeah, Tom's looking at it.
Yeah.
Madam Moderator?
Yes.
After speaking to the zoning board people, I'm going to withdraw all three of my amendments. Sorry for the delay in the meeting.
No. It's certainly you're right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bickey. So where were we? Article. Yeah. Article S15. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on Article S15, accessory dwelling units?
Madam Moderator,
yes.
On the stage, I'd like to be heard. Andrea Piccarelli, I apologize, I don't remember my district off the top of my head. I'd actually like to amend item 4 in this, just to replace or change one word. There shall be one off-street parking per ADU. And I think we should replace that to per housing unit. I'm concerned that in areas where there is already a lack of parking, onset in particular, that if we allow somebody to put it in an ADU where there is already a lot that does not have enough parking, we're potentially taking away parking. And so it should be per housing unit, not per ADU. So just to clarify my statement, so if I have a house, and I'm just going to use Onset as an example, I know we have other areas in town that are like this, where right now there's only room for one car, or in some places no cars, and I put an addition or an ADU onto my property, I'm only still required to have one space, even though multiple family members, multiple drivers could now be occupying multiple housing units. So I don't think it's alleviating the issue of ensuring there's appropriate parking where an ADU is added. And in properties where there's already plenty of parking, it almost implies that you would have to add an additional parking unit for the ADU. If you live on a property that already has 15, 16 spaces, why would you need to add another one?
Thank you, we're considering, thank you.
So what is it that she's proposing? I wasn't entirely clear.
She wants that to be for additional parking per ADU.
Yeah.
She wants it to be additional parking
Per housing unit? Per lot?
For housing unit.
Per housing. So with that, so this goes to a scope question. Is this becoming, guys, does this mean that they would have to have, please, does this mean that you would have to have more parking or less parking? If it's more parking, it is beyond the scope of the article because it's imposing a stricter requirement than the one that is in place. If it's less parking, it's within the scope because it's more relaxed.
What she's saying is that there are lots in Onset that don't have a parking space. Or
Right.
maybe they have a parking space.
Right.
And they're going to convert that one parking space for the parking in the ADU.
Right.
So essentially you increase your dwelling units, but you have to
Without
increase your
increasing
parking.
your parking. So what she's saying is you need more parking to get an ADU. And so then the question is that within the scope of the article because it's more restrictive than what was being proposed? And I think the strict interpretation is going to be no, it's not within the scope because the public wasn't on notice. The public was on notice of this particular standard, and she's introducing a new, more restrictive standard, but the public wasn't on notice of it.
The ADU bylaw is for the use of the ADU. It's a use essentially. And the current state law is only looking at it.
Or we can just try it and see what the AG does with it. But will it make a mess of
All the rest
of the citizens? Right. Yeah. That's why getting these things in advance is not.
Madam Moderator?
So we're having a discussion on the previous speaker's statement. If you can just bear with us a moment, we will be,
The previous speaker, but he withdrew everything.
what's that? No, I'm talking about the new previous speaker,
Oh, okay.
the member of the Finance
Are you
Committee.
is that going to be a motion?
We're talking about that, so bear with us a moment.
Okay, because
Bear with us a moment.
So, okay, so you want more parking. But you want more parking.
It's not necessarily more parking space, one space per house on the property. So what's happening right now is, let's say a lot has one space, and it's a single-family home. We're going to add an ADU, we're still going to have one space. Yeah.
Right,
So
right,
that's
right.
how I think it needs to be worded, for it to meet its intention, its intended. I think I completely understand where Mr. Barron's coming from. I think it's a very good job of putting
No,
it together, but that one word, I think, is going
But there
to
are
create a problem.
But there's other issues. There are other issues with that.
Yes, that is so if you are increasing if you're making it stricter in terms of the number of parking spaces that are required, the public is not on notice that there is going to be these parking spaces. Even though what you're suggesting is completely logical, and I completely understand it. EAG, this stuff is a legacy project. On us.
No, I completely understand, having heard this.
That's why we're not actively saying, no. So we're really trying to brain box our way through this. I mean, we can shoot the rapid and see what happens.
I think that thinking it through, I think that it is outside the scope.
So one other proposal, there will be one additional off space.
But it ends up being the same result.
But in terms of the public policy review, which I was worried about, you and I get wrapped up in our law because we're lawyers. It wouldn't be worse, let's say, Onset. It wouldn't be worse for Onset if it went through. It would be worse for somebody wanting to do an ADU, which is a different question, and that's the one that Margaret, I think your scope analysis is correct. But again, if you want to let it ride.
I'm not a huge fan of letting stuff ride.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
Especially on
I don't think it's going to wreck the neighborhoods, but on the other hand, it will frustrate the development of ADUs.
The kids don't know how a lot of the lots in Onset are going to require variances.
Anyway.
They're small lots.
Yep.
The zoning board may not even allow an ADU in the setback.
Yep.
That might be the stopper right there. That can never require a variance.
Well, can you just throw your joint with a cup?
All right.
I know, I did bring it up.
So you hadn't asked
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm deaf in this ear, so I
Oh, I'm sorry. So I think you had said I'd like to make.
So, yeah. You made that a formal motion? I think I'll say I move. I'm going to write. I move to amend number 4 by adding housing unit in place of you. And then, there we go.
There we go. So assuming that someone will second it, I'm going to rule it out.
By adding
All right.
Oh, on the amendments? No. How would they even know?
Yeah, you can only make a report on what was in front of them, right? Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you for your patience. So I think that I'm sorry, Piccarelli wanted to follow through, formally making her motion.
So I move to amend number 4 by adding housing unit in place of ADU.
Is there a second on that motion? Motion made and seconded to amend Article S15 to, as Ms. Piccarelli has just stated. I've reviewed this with Town Council and give this some thought to it myself as well. And I'm going to rule the motion out of order as being outside the scope of the article because its effect actually is to make the requirements under this proposed ADU bylaw to be more restrictive. Therefore, there's not sufficient notice to go forward on that. It's not within the scope of the article. Is there anything further to be said on Article S15, accessory dwelling units? Seeing no one else standing. Oh.
Sandy Slavin, my question is, what does as of right mean?
Same thing it means.
What is
Yeah,
as of right? Does it mean they can do it without any approvals?
No, it doesn't mean they can do, is it okay if I answer that? It doesn't mean they can do it without any approvals. Obviously, if you're going to build anything, you need to have a building permit and meet the other requirements. All it means is you do not need some sort of variance for that particular use.
So that means that planning and zoning are out of the picture?
Well, I won't say they're out of the picture because it would depend on case, it's somewhat case specific. It would depend somewhat on the size of the lot and the setbacks and all that.
Okay, so we still have the town still has control with our boards and commissions for the project.
Again, that's a fairly vague question, but it's site specific, the same way it would be with the Conservation Commission. So, in any event, is there anything further to be said on Article S15, accessory dwelling units? I do not see anyone. Yes.
Do it.
Move the question.
So we have a motion made. Is there a second on the motion to move the question? So again, that's a motion to cut off all debate, and we would then go to a vote on Article S15. This is not a debatable motion. All those in favor of the motion to move the question, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating no. It passes by a voice vote majority. We're now going to go to the main motion on Article S15. The motion being, I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report. I just wanted to make that clear because there's been so much discussion of proposed amendments and such. Again, as stated by the Planning Board report, because this is a bylaw that is related to housing, unlike regular zoning bylaws, only a majority vote is required on this. All those in favor of the motion under Article S15, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. Nay. It passes by a vote majority. Article S16.
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S16, solar voltaic installations. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 4-0-0.
And may I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee voted favorable action 6-0-0.
And as this is a zoning article, may I have the report of the Planning Board? Mr. Faraday.
At a publicly advertised Planning Board meeting, the Planning Board voted unanimously to approve bringing the presented article forward to special town meeting. The change to the zoning bylaw would require a 2/3 vote of the town meeting body.
Is there anything further that you wish to speak to on this article?
Yes, please. So I'll go through. I'll go through the proposals to the actual changes to the solar zoning bylaw, and then I have a few maps to kind of bring the point home. The first change you see within the bylaw is a change to the use table. The use table will be changed to reflect that large-scale ground-mounted solar and battery energy storage systems are not permitted in any of our zoning districts. Next, you will see that special permit uses have been increased with number 6, large-scale ground-mounted solar voltaic installations, and number 7, battery energy storage systems. This is a direct change to the business development overlay district. Next, under restricted siting, we are proposing to remove number 5, which is public utility solar energy facilities. When we identified the definition of what that is, it is basically any entity that sells solar back to the grid, which would basically be any large-scale ground-mounted solar developer. And then we've also proposed to remove number 7, ground-mounted solar energy facilities sited on land that has been previously disturbed. We felt that definition was too vague, and we had no real way to quantify it. Under section 595.1, It's a change to the verbiage to the first sentence in number 3. No real impact. And then under section 450 of allowed uses, the proposal to add number 7, large-scale ground-mounted solar voltaic installations. So those are the proposed changes to the actual bylaw. And now I'd like to just talk about some maps that I've generated. Currently on the screen you see a map. The town of Wareham is outlined in blue, and anywhere you see the green shading is where you could develop solar with a site plan review special permit from the planning board, or currently the zoning board if it required a variance. Next slide, please, Matt. The next slide being presented now, you can see an area shaded in yellow, which is the Business Development Overlay District. Next slide, please, Matt. So here you can see the Business Development Overlay District superimposed over where we currently allow solar by permit. Next slide, Matt. This is a map showing an environmental justice community located in northwest Wareham. Next slide, please. And then here is the currently allowed solar zoning within that environmental justice community. Next slide. And the area where it's, I will say, a poorly lighter shade of orange or red is what the reduction to solar development would be within that environmental justice community. Next slide, please, Matt. So the ultimate goal of this bylaw is Wareham has approximately 22,354 acres of land. Currently, we allow for 72% of the land in Wareham to be developed, which is 16,081 acres. The proposal would reduce 72% of Wareham to 17% of land in Wareham. The Business Development Overlay District is approximately 1,300 acres. Currently, we allow for solar development within the Zone 2 wellhead protection area. The new proposal removes it entirely from the Zone 2 wellhead protection area. Currently, we allow for vast development within the Plymouth Carver Sole Source Aquifer, and the proposal severely limits it. There is still a little section, but it severely limits it. And then the amount of developable land for solar developers is reduced within the current EJ community that I had presented. Thank you. That's my presentation.
Is anything further to be said on Article S16? Yes, gentleman on my left.
Gerard Cardillo, Lot Street, Wareham. I would like to ask this person what is this? Where are these panels going to be disposed of? Is there a disposal plan for this? This is all hazardous waste.
So this gentleman, Mr. Faraday, if you wish to answer the question, you have the floor.
I'll speak a little bit to the process of what we've enacted here in town. Currently, if a solar developer is to default on their project, the town holds a decommissioning bond, which would be used to dispose of the property and bring it back to a natural state. We do not have any solar panel, I'd say, disposal yards in Wareham currently. Speaking from the little knowledge I know about solar is that most of them are being disposed of in Ohio.
At whose cost?
It would be the developer's cost under the decommissioning bond.
You still have the floor, sir. Did you wish to say anything further?
I have something to say, but I'm not going to say it right now. Fine for now.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard on Article S16? Seeing no one outstanding, we'll go to vote on Article S16. It is a zoning bylaw change, so it requires a 2/3 vote. We'll try on a voice vote first. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. All those opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a 2/3 voice vote. Article S3. Is there a motion under Article S3?
I move to see if the town of Wareham will vote to raise and appropriate and/or transfer a sum of money from available funds and authorize borrowing subject to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7 or 8, or any other enabling authority for the purpose of capital improvement projects, including replacement of vehicles and equipment and repairs to and improvements to town buildings, facilities, and waterways, or to take any other action relative thereto.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on Article S. What? He didn't read the entire.
Do you want?
Yeah, so if we could hear that, there's a little bit of confusion about the motion itself. If you could please restate your motion on Article S3.
I move the motion that's up on the screen.
Second.
May I have the vote and recommendation of the Select Board?
Favorable action 400.
May I have the vote and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
It's past my bedtime already. The Finance Committee was 600.
Okay. Is there anything, Mr. Sullivan, do you wish to speak to this article?
Thank you. I'll just try and go in order here. So Fearing Hill Bridge replacement partial costs, we will have the finalized design probably in, we're expecting October, I think. Then we'll be able to bid out and figure out the full cost of that. We're expecting it to be a $4 to $5 million project. We are seeking grants for it. We've requested earmarks. I'm just trying to get some funding put in place. You'll see we're actually going to roll over some free cash. So I know it says partial. I just want to make sure everybody understands that is not the full cost and is a major liability for us financially, but also public safety-wise. So the emergency management directors worked to they were limiting the public safety vehicles that could go over. He worked to make sure that we could get a bunch of those over. So that's fantastic. That saved a lot of time. This is something we definitely need to do. The chipper box truck purchase and equip for $135,000. That's for municipal maintenance. That would go along. We already have the boom truck. You are not allowed to utilize the boom and the chipper truck part while the boom's active. It's on the state laws now. This would give us a more efficient operation, and you see them on the side of the road when they're working and also taking trees down, and we have the people with the right licenses to do it. So I think this is it's a good purchase for the town. 2500 style truck with plow, purchase and equip. That is, again, just keeping our fleet maintained. Asphalt box, look, it's cold patch doesn't work, right? And in a year like this, when Rochester plant, I don't think it's going to open up to May or mid-May. It's if we're putting down cold patch, you try and get it from somewhere else. Everybody knows that asphalt, once it goes cold, it's terrible. So this is for $50,000. It's going to help us all season long. I think it's a good investment for the community and will help with some of the residents. Upgrade the McDuffie building. The Turning Point has left the McDuffie building. The school department has it. They're going to start using it for night school and then more purposes. Obviously, we need to put some more money into it to bring it back up. Luckily, it was never completely decommissioned or vacated, or else we'd have some more issues. So $200,000 for that. The middle school fire system, we've been alerted by Wareham Fire that we need to get that done, and essentially that's going to have to be done before the next season. So we want to do this now so we can get it installed over the summer and be ready. Weights and measures vehicle purchase and equip. The old weights and measures vehicle went down several years ago. We've been trying to use the old animal control vehicle. You're supposed to have these proving beds. You're supposed to have all the proper weights and such. So we're looking to get this vehicle. Also, it's being that the other vehicle is completely enclosed. It's not a separated cab. This would be a pickup style with a whole separated cab. The fumes, as you know, Weights and Measures does fuel for gas stations and such. It's not a good thing to have in there with somebody driving around, obviously. The copiers for various departments, it's 8 departments. If there's a copier salesman in here, I apologize. Copier sales is worse than used car sales. It is awful. What we're looking to do is get out of the continued lease. We've been trying to arrange them so they'd all fall in the same time, and this would get us the 8 copiers to actually purchase them. The maintenance, just like when we're leasing it, would be separate, but we believe after year 3, going into year 4, we're starting to save money on it, and by year 5, we'll have made at least $15,000 to $20,000 back for the community. So I think it's a good use of the funds. And then finally, those are all paid from free cash. Free cash is what you have at the end of the year when you have your expenses and your revenues, and then it is certified by the Department of Revenue. So just to let you know, we currently have $4,298,642 in free cash, which the $1.77 million was sufficient, which would leave us about $2.5 million, and then the $260,000 is from retained earnings for a camera truck and equipment purchase and equip for a camera truck. That's what they use for going down the lines, looking at them. They have to camera the lines. We have the staffing now, so good folks that are trained to be able to utilize it. And that also tells us the status. And sometimes you'll see that, we're planning on doing a certain area to rehab it, and we'll suddenly switch to another. That's because they've cambered those lines, and they're seeing some bad stuff in there. So this keeps us ahead of disasters, so it's well worth it. Retained earnings is the water pollution control facilities, so our sewer plants, enterprise funds version of free cash. And they have, I believe, about $2.5 million in there, so there is plenty in there to be able to purchase this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article S3? Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say. Yes, he is. Yes, you have the floor. Please state your name.
I'm Jim Manise, Precinct 4. Just a question on the upgrade for the McDuffie building. Specifically, what are you doing? And that building was rented. And where does the rent go? Does it come back into the general fund? Does it go to the school? And that would be for the Hammond building, too. At $3,600 a month, which comes out to like $40,000 a year. What happens to those funds? And those funds are they utilized for the upgrades, being put back into the buildings? Thank you.
So to answer the question,
I'll circle around. The first one is the McDuffie Annex. If they can, they'll go into it deeper. Some of the entry points, they're looking at a new roof for it as well, getting the the electronics upgraded so it's matching for what we have like in these buildings so that they're utilized. they're basically getting it done, reset it so it can be used in the classroom like it is for any of these buildings. There is a whole list, and we'll try and find if I...
Well, that's okay. You kind of... Now, what about the rent?
The rent for that, that's not a town building. Look, they're all owned by the town, but it's not under the town's care, control, and custody. It is the school's care, control, and custody, so it would have gone to the school. In Hammond, it's kind of outside the scope, but we have a revolving account for Hammond that you'd see in the annual town meeting. The money's going to that and can only be expended on the Hammond.
And how much is in the revolving account for Hammond?
Oh, geez, Jim, you got me.
Is it 50 or whatever, or 100?
Yeah, I don't think it's going up that much for it because, the heat, the electricity on that building's pretty substantial. So it's...
Well, that's paid by the tenant, I believe, at least
no,
proportionally.
Portion. So
Right.
I think, what do we have, Dave, in there?
So
I think
do we use any of that for the investigations and whatnot? Or to look, so anyhow...
Are we talking about the Hammond School?
Yeah,
So we're outside the scope of we're outside the scope of the article for talking about the Hammond School. Yeah.
But thank
Right.
you.
Thank you.
Kind of got the answer anyhow.
Is there anything further to be said on Article S3? Seeing no one else standing, we'll go to a vote on Article S3. All those in favor of the motion under Article S3, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote majority. Article S8. Is there a motion under Article S8?
I move that the town vote to approve as printed in the Finance Committee report.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded under Article S8. May I have the report and recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action 400.
May I have the report and recommendation of the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee voted 501.
Is there anything, do you wish to speak to the article, Mr. Town Administrator?
Yeah, so thank you. The first thing I want to explain is this is not something new. We currently lease, and this has been back since 2005, with OmniPoint, which is essentially T-Mobile now. It's up in the, I guess you'd call it the attic area in the cupola. The lease is expiring. They've expressed interest in doing another 20 to 30-year lease. I can't just sign that. We need your permission. The town body to say, yes, that's something the town is interested in, and then we'd have to go out for bid on it. So again, we're currently getting about $3,000, a little over $3,100 for it. Jim, I'm anticipating a question. Jim, that's in the local receipts for the rentals. We show it up there. So that's where that revenue goes. So.
Thank you. Is there anything further to be said on Article S8, building lease? Seeing no one else standing, we'll go to a vote. It is a interest in real estate, so it requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of the motion under Article S8, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes unanimously by a voice vote. Article S1. Is there a motion under Article S1?
I move that the town approve the following budget transfers. Transfer from town planner's salary account, $12,600. Transfer to town treasurer's salary account, $12,600. Transfer from town planner's salary account, $230. Transfer to town assessor's salary account, $230.
Is there a second?
I'm sorry. Transfer from the water pollution control facility expense account, $60,000. Transfer to water pollution control facility salary account, $60,000.
There's been a motion made and seconded on Article S1. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the article?
Thank you. The first thing I want to say is this is not any new costs. These are costs that are already within the FY25 budget and the water pollution control facility budget. So going through as we're calculating for the end of the year, we noticed some of these. The treasure collector one, that's we noticed that we had missed one stipend when we had been setting up the budget, and also as we're doing some succession planning, we have created 2 bookkeeper positions that have been filled in there and defunded 2 other positions, but these are a little higher, so they're being trained on the treasurer aspects and the collector aspects. And I think it's that's well worth it. So what we're doing is taking from the planning salary department where we have a surplus, moving it to that. $230 for the assessing department. I'm pretty sure the weeks are, when you're planning a budget, it's about 52.2 to 52.3 weeks, just figuring if there's an extra day or something within the year, and I swear we just missed that day or something. Water pollution control, this is actually a good one. When we lacked staffing, we were using a lot of outside consultants to do the work. Now that we've brought staffing along, we've filled it up for these positions, we're able to no longer rely on those contractors. So there's some work done on the existing clarifiers that we're doing in-house. It is saving money, but again, most of it was budgeted when back, considered a year ago, well, we weren't planning on actually having this and things going so well. So this has allowed us to do it with our own staff. And you'll see in the FY26 budget the reduction in the outside contractors. So we consider this a good thing for the community. And again, that is within that enterprise fund budget.
Thank you. Is anything further to be said on the motion under Article S1? And I don't think I got did I get the vote? I did not, of the Select Board, please.
Favorable action, 400.
And the vote recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends favorable action, 600.
Is there anything further to be said on Article S1? I do not see anyone standing, so we'll go to the motion under Article S1. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by voice vote majority.
Madam Moderator, we're approaching the 10 o'clock time. We need to find out if people want to go past 10 o'clock or call it.
So I think
tomorrow.
I think what I'd like to do, because I don't see us finishing the annual town meeting. So I think what I'd like to entertain is a motion to go past the hour of 10 p.m. to finish up the special town meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to go past the hour of 10 p.m. to finish the special town meeting. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. So it passes by voice vote.
I think we've already finished.
Did we?
Special town meeting.
No. Yes.
I think it's moved.
Motion to adjourn the special town meeting and to reconvene. And then once reconvene, entertain motions as to when we want to come back.
Okay. All right. So I will entertain a motion to dissolve the special town meeting.
So moved.
And to
Second.
wait, we can do this all in one step. And to reconvene the annual town meeting. Motion made and seconded to do so. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. So we are now, the motion's passed, and so we are now reconvene the annual town meeting. As I stated before, I don't see us finishing this evening, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn the annual town meeting to tomorrow. We have the, no?
Do we have it?
All right. Well, all right. So we're having our own little debate up here. In any event, I'm just going to ask for a sense of the meeting. We've reopened the annual town meeting, and I'd like to get a sense of this body, whether you wish to continue this evening to finish the annual town meeting. So, no. So, all those in favor of finishing the annual town meeting this evening, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. So I declare that it has not passed. So I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn the annual town meeting.
Madam Moderator?
So moved.
No. Madam Moderator?
What? No. All right, so I apologize for the for my confusion. So I think when we left off for the annual town meeting, we were in the midst of Article 13, the union contract. So what I propose at this time, if someone will entertain a motion to extend the annual town meeting past the hour of 10 p.m. in order to conclude Article 13 of the annual town meeting.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. So we are on the annual town meeting, Article... Yeah, I got it, all right? Getting a lot of advice here. So in any event, the gentleman in the red hat, you were speaking, and I promised you that you would speak first when we came back to Article 13 on the union contracts.
Are the union contracts?
Again, if just for the record, if you could state your name and then go with your question.
Gerard Cardillo, Watt Street, Wareham, Mass. I'd just like to ask, negotiated these union contracts and all. Is there been any motion? Are these people getting raises now? Most of the time, the wages went up, right?
Yeah, that's what, when we say COLA, that means, like a cost of living adjustment, the 2%, 2.5%.
Okay. What about the town hall being open after 12 o'clock? Was that negotiated in this contract?
We're open after 12. We're open until about 6 p.m. at night.
No, the town hall is closed at 12 o'clock on Fridays.
Oh, we're not open on Fridays.
They're not open at all on Fridays.
Why not? Everybody else works Fridays.
Well, no, we're not going to have an argument back and forth, so I think you've made your point. Do you have something else that you wish to ask about the union contracts?
Yes. Has there been any motion to get a merit pay system installed in the town?
Yes, we have some of the contracts have where you need to pass your review to go on a step.
But a very good people being rewarded for their good service? Or does everybody get the same wage?
If you are not doing it in that situation, you don't get the step. I think we've tried to bargain in good faith with folks. But I appreciate you looking out for the employees and wanting to reward them.
Absolutely, because good employees should get more money. Not everybody is equal. I've been a contractor for 50 years. I know what that's all about.
Thank you. Mrs. Ekstrom.
Thank you. Brenda Ekstrom, Precinct 2. I would like to move further study on this article. If I could please get a second on it, please, somebody, just so I could explain why.
There's been a motion made by Mrs. Ekstrom for further study on Article 13. Is there a second?
Thank you.
I think I heard a second. And I'll have to have your
In writing, yes.
motion in writing, please.
The reason why I'm asking for further study is not that I don't think that the employees don't deserve raises or steps or anything, but I've been watching the news, I'm sure many of you have, and I've been watching what the federal government is cutting off to the states, which is getting cut off to the cities and towns. And I'm very concerned with what we may not be getting in this upcoming fiscal year. And so,
She does have a motion which has been seconded, sir. It's motion for further study on Article 13, and I did hear a second. So,
and so what I'm asking for is if we can hold off these until the fall, at the fall town meeting, when we know what we're going to have for money, if we're going to have the money. I'm looking at the numbers that the town administrator gave us, and it looks like about, I don't know, $250,000 in raises when he was giving us the numbers. That's not including the steps that people will be getting for longevity and stuff. No. So I just don't want to. We've been in a position before where
so you're out of time?
Excuse me, I have 5 minutes because it's a new.
No, 2 minutes.
Well, no, you have 2 minutes. You're not. It's not a new article. You're speaking about an amendment.
2 minutes.
So sum up.
Sorry, that's the way it's always been. But I'm sorry. I guess with me, it's 2 minutes. Okay. So I'm asking for
That's
that.
not very fair, Mrs. Ekstrom. You get plenty of time to
If you
speak.
go back and look, that is the way it's always been. But I'll take it as 2 minutes.
If you could wrap up, please.
Thank you. And with that kind of money, I would just like, I don't want the town to get screwed that in the summer we're closing more hours, we're laying off people. I would rather have us be able to give them all the money in back pay right before Christmas, if we need to do that, rather than give it to them in July and losing people in April next year. Thank you.
Mr. Teitelbaum.
Yeah, really.
Yes, Peter Teitelbaum, Precinct 3. As some of you may know, I served on the Board of Selectmen for 10 years, and one of my everlasting regrets from that 10 years of service was that we could not pay the damn town employees what they were worth. This is simply an effort to try to get the clerical union up in stature with some of the other unions in terms of the hours they get rewarded for. Fears about what might happen down the road, you can say that in October too. I would say vote the amendment down. I think it's unfair to the employees who've negotiated in good faith. I think we have to have faith in our town administrator, who's done an outstanding job with the town's finances for going on 13 years now. He's kept us out of a lot of bad situations. If he says he has the money to pay these people, he's got it. Vote this down.
Mr. Bessie.
I'll try to make this brief. So we want to move this to a further study to figure out if we might or might not have money. My concern with waiting is these people need to be paid for the work that they do. They deserve the money that they are earning. They deserve more than some of them are earning based off of what they do. The last thing that we want to do is upset the unions and the members of the unions, because without those people doing the jobs that we need them to do, do we not want to have a police department? Do we not want to have all of the services that we have in this town? Do we want subpar, or do we want to hope that Maybe we get money, maybe we don't. We can't think about what might happen just because maybe there's more benefit for us or not for us. But to ask for a pause on pay, would you want pause on your pay because you don't think that there might be money? We all have families to feed, and to say that we need to wait to let these people feed their families is ridiculous.
Call the question.
Madam Moderator?
No, you do not have the floor. I think I heard a motion to call the question. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to move the question. It's not a debatable motion. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a vote's vote. So the vote that we're going to now will be a vote on Mrs. Ekstrom's motion for further study of Article 13. So, all those in favor of the motion for further study of Article 13, union contracts, please signify by stating aye. All those opposed, please signify by stating nay. Nay. The motion fails on a voice vote. So now we're going to the main motion on Article 13, i.e., I move that the town vote to approve and fund the contracts between the town and unions as printed in the warrant. Is there anything further to be said on the main motion?
Thank you. Brenda Ekstrom, Precinct 2. I urge you to vote against this. I believe it was mid-March when this first came out, I requested that the town administrator put the contracts on the town meeting website so that people could read them. He ignored it. I wrote to him again as a public records request, and on April 8th he said there were there was nothing to respond to. He finally got them done, I guess sometime.
Point of order, this is a recitation of personal grievances and not a point.
It is not. I asked for the records so we could read them, so we knew what we were voting on. He did not send it out. When I asked a second time, he said there was nothing to respond to. So everyone here, just so you know, you do not know what you're voting on. So vote away, and when you have no services, it's because you're old. Last time you said 2%. When you did the math, it was 3%. And I take great exception for people to say that if we don't give them their raises right away, the police aren't going to do their jobs. That's offensive to the police officers in this town.
They got to get paid.
Yeah, well, we're not
no.
We are not keeping their pay away. We're not keeping their pay away. We're saying the 2% raise that you might get in July, we're not going to give it to you until October. That's all. And I think it's offensive for you to say that. And I'm sorry, and I know, go ahead, you can all slam me. I was just trying to watch out for the town, which obviously the Finance Committee and the Select Board I'm so concerned with. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chadwick, I think. I'm not sure who raised their hand first. Mr. Chadwick, go ahead.
Call the vote.
Is there a motion made? Is there a second on the motion to call the vote? Motion made and seconded to call the vote. It's not a debatable motion. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote majority, so we're going to go to a vote on the main motion, Article 13. I move that the town vote to approve and fund the contracts between the town and unions as printed in the warrant. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. It passes by a voice vote majority. So now,
I move that we recess the
meeting until tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. here at the Wareham High School auditorium.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's been seconded. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Any opposed, please signify by stating nay. We will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m.